I'm back with a lot of news of what has transpired in the last 7 days. Ladies and gentlemen, India is really leading the way as far as global diplomacy is concerned, and last time we discussed G20. But what's happened in this week? Let me take you on a small little tour. Let me take you to India's newest aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Maj Gaurav Arya and you're watching Checkmate. The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, was welcomed on INS Vikrant. We saw the naval chief there, a host of naval dignitaries there welcoming him. He was given a guard of honor. And speaking from INS Vikrant, the PM of Australia made these comments. Please watch this video.
City is open, inclusive and prosperous. I'm pleased to report that there's never been a busier or more productive time in our defence and security partnership. Last year we conducted more exercises, operations and dialogues than ever before. And today I've been very proud to meet with the naval officers and personnel here on this magnificent aircraft carrier who participated in exercises with the Australian Navy in recent times.
So as you see, what the Prime Minister of Australia said was that India is a top-tier defence partner for Australia. Now, why is this? And what are the ramifications of this statement? Let's briefly discuss. Both the countries are part of the Quad. And the Prime Minister of Australia is the first foreign head of state who has been invited on INS Vikrant. Now, this is clearly messaging. A lot of people in our circles, people who are analysts, will say that this is a messaging towards China. Both Australia and India have problems with China. Both are members of the Quad. So what are the other reasons, why India would invite the Prime Minister of Australia to INS Vikrant? It's flagship carrier. I mean, this is something we are terribly proud of. INS Vikrant is 76% Indian. It is indigenous, with only a very few foreign parts. This is something that has been made in India by Indians. This is something that India can show off. So what are the ramifications? A, messaging towards China. That's a big one. Number two, also the fact that India would like to tell Australia that we are entering the big league, we can make an aircraft carrier for ourselves. Sure, we can make one for you too. And thirdly, that's what the PM announced, the Australian Prime Minister, that they'll be having these massive exercises along with India. Now, exercises with foreign countries have always been the norm and they were happening every single year. Even when I was in the army, I would hear about, our army going abroad or foreigners coming to India and exercising together with India. So this part is not new. But the intensity with which it has been happening for the past 5-6 years, this is something truly amazing and truly new for me, because the intensity, this entire gamut or this entire facet of military diplomacy has been opened up. It was always there, mind you, but it was subdued. Today we see the army chief going to various countries, the Navy and the Air Force chiefs going to various countries and meeting people. And, the defense forces or the armed forces of the Union being projected in a certain manner where it is said that, well, you're here to fight, but you're also here to conduct military diplomacy. I think that's a major, major win. Now, the second news that I have for you is the US Director of National Intelligence. There is a National Intelligence Department in America, and the Director of the National Intelligence, in his annual threat assessment report, said that India under Prime Minister Modi is extremely likely to respond to threats coming from both China and Pakistan. And when you say respond, they mean militarily respond. India has done that with China in the past, in Galwan. We've had it in Tawang. Doklam was more of a visual face-off. There wasn't any conflict there. But we saw unfortunate deaths in Galwan, and we saw what the Indian Army did to the Chinese troops, in the Tawang area. We've all heard about that. And we've seen some videos of the last year, I'm told. So the thing here is this, that this is what the intelligence community of the United States of America wants to tell the entire world, that India is here, India is ready to respond, India will respond. And it also says that both are nuclear armed countries, Pakistan on one hand and China on the other. and so is India. And India under Prime Minister Modi is extremely likely. Let me read out what they have said is that. So they say, highlighting the expanded military postures by both India and China along the disputed border, the report warned about the elevated risk of armed confrontation. They talk about armed confrontation between nuclear powers that might involve direct threats to US persons and interests, and calls for US intervention. With Pakistan's long history of supporting extremist groups, the report acknowledges higher probability of India responding with military force under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to perceived or real Pakistani provocations. Now, this is very interesting. Perceived or real. Now, real is, Pakistan does an Uri and we do a surgical strike. Pakistan does a Pulwama and we do a Balakot. Now, this is real or perceived. If India perceives that Pakistan is up to something, if India perceives that there is a threat, are the Americans hinting at preemptive action by the Indians? Is that what it means? Only time will tell. But as far as I can analyze, if there is perceived threat from Pakistan, India will take military action. This is what the report says. So, are we or are we not talking about a preemptive strike here? I do not know. As I said, only the future will tell. But this is what the report says. Another thing very important is that, Gina Raimondo, who's the US Commerce Secretary, was in India, and we've signed an MOU with the US for technology. Now, India wants to be the semiconductor hub of the world, right? Currently, India does not manufacture semiconductors, but India says that this is what we wish to do. The Indian government has decided to pump in $10 billion US, $10 billion US as seed money. And there are so many Indian corporates who say that, yes, we will pump in X billion dollars, of investment. So people are talking about 20, 30, 40 billion US dollars worth of investment in semiconductors. And Raimondo says we would like to see India achieve its aspirations to play a larger role in electronic supply chain, and to that end, the MOU that I'm signing on this trip around semiconductors is designed to help achieve that goal. So what does India get from the United States of America? What India gets is, it gets technology, because America is the world leader in semiconductors, and India gets technology, India gets partnership. India has already committed to investing billions upon billions of dollars, and preliminary research tells me that if you say the total sort of commitments given for semiconductors manufacturing in India, including what the government has pitched in, is close to 80 to 100 billion US dollars. So Ms. Raimondo's contention that we have signed this MOU and we'd like to see India achieve that aim, I think that is going to happen. Also, this was signed by Raimondo and S. Jaishankar, and the India-US strategic trade dialogue. What it calls for is control regimes of both countries for critical technologies. Now, we have discussed in the past, all of you have been watching Checkmate, we've been discussing about supply chain resilience. And India is a signatory to that document. Supply chain resilience is a concept which says that, we are a global village and everything, manufacturing is interconnected. Raw materials come from somewhere, they're manufactured somewhere, some parts are manufactured somewhere else, they're taken by some other route and sold all over the world, and there is this massive supply chain, right from the raw materials to the technology, everything, and then it goes into the hands of the consumer. There's this massive supply chain, and this is China's true superpower. China is not a military superpower, China is an economic superpower, and everything depends upon supply chain in China. That is where China gets its power from. So, if India starts manufacturing semiconductors, a lot of electronic manufacturing shifts to India. And electronic manufacturing is something that China leads the world in. China is the factory of the world, especially so when it comes to electronic items, electronic goods. It could be washing machines, phones, computers. China leads the world. And if India has a solid base of manufacturing semiconductors, that manufacturing is likely to shift to India because our labor costs are low, our manufacturing costs are low, and hence margins are higher. This is what India is doing, and US has decided to help get a lot of technology from the United States of America and make in India Atmanirbhar Bharat. The game is around Atmanirbhar Bharat. All throughout, INS Vikrant, Atmanirbhar Bharat. the latest weapon systems that we're making in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, electrical vehicles, semiconductors, you name it. The Modi government has decided that wherever possible, to the maximum extent, we are going to manufacture in India under the aegis of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And this is what this deal is about. Manufacturing superconductors in India, supercharging the Indian economy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me take you to Pakistan. Imran Khan is not happy with anybody. Imran Khan is unhappy with the entire world after blaming the Americans for regime change and trying to kill him, and then trying to say that the Home Minister of Pakistan was trying to kill him, and then the ISI was trying to kill him, then the entire world was trying to kill him. Now Imran Khan is saying that, the hardships that he's facing, he thought that when General Asim Munir became army chief after General Bajwa retired, Imran thought that, it'll be better if a new army chief takes over and he'll have an easy time. Now, what are Imran Khan's expectations from General Asim Munir? Let me first start from Imran Khan's expectations. Imran Khan is not a Democrat. In fact, none of these Pakistani politicians are actually Democrats. They don't believe in democracy. If the army chief supports them and if he's willing to make calls to other political parties to support a certain candidate for the position of Prime Minister, which was done in Imran Khan's case in 2018. That is how Imran Khan became the Prime Minister of Pakistan. You would have heard this phrase used for Imran Khan, a selected Prime Minister. Everybody is calling him selected because it was understood that it was General Bajwa who made him Prime Minister. Imran Khan did not have the numbers to become the Prime Minister. Not that numbers matter in Pakistan. It is the army chief's wish and will that matters in Pakistan. Having said that, what happened was that Imran Khan became the Prime Minister of Pakistan in 2018, and later on he gave an extension of 3 years to General Qamar Javed Bajwa. Now they fell apart. General Faiz had a certain role to play, who was DGISI. He had a certain role to play. And Imran Khan's own shenanigans. What happened was that the army refused to support Imran Khan. And General Bajwa said that the army will be neutral. Now neutral became a bad word in Pakistan. And this is how Imran Khan would taunt the army, saying that you're neutral. He even went so far as to say that only animals are neutral. So this is Imran Khan Niazi for you, former Prime Minister of Pakistan. Now what has happened is, General Asim Munir refuses to comment on political matters. General Asim Munir wants to stay away from politics, stay away from meeting politicians. What has happened in the past is that Imran Khan tried to meet General Asim Munir. He tried to reach out to General Asim Munir. Why a politician? And Gallup says, there was a Gallup poll which said that Imran Khan is the most popular political leader in Pakistan. Why the most popular political leader in Pakistan would want to reach out to General Asim Munir, the Chief of Army Staff of the Pakistan Army, is anybody's guess. But the fact of the matter is, Imran Khan knows that even if he's the most popular and he gets all the votes in Pakistan, let's say a hypothetical scenario, that everybody in Pakistan votes for Imran Khan, it counts for nothing. Because finally the army chief decides in Pakistan who the Prime Minister will be. Now, this is something that the Pakistani politicians are very comfortable with. This is something that they've grown up with. They've been born into a certain situation where they know that power flows out not from the parliament but from GHQ Rawalpindi. Now, Imran Khan doesn't understand this concept of neutrality, but neither does Shahbaz Sharif. What Imran Khan wants is, Imran Khan wants the army chief to say that everybody else apart from Imran Khan is a thief, is a dacoit, put everybody in jail, no elections, make Imran Khan Prime Minister till the time he's breathing. This is exactly what Imran Khan wants, which is why I said, let us start from what Imran Khan wants. All this, this whole thing of we want elections, this is for the people. This is for the consumption of the Pakistani people. What Imran Khan actually wants is the army chief of Pakistan to step him and make him Prime Minister. Now, this is what General Asim Munir is not doing. He's saying, I have no business with politicians. Now, Pakistani army chiefs have said that in the past also, but it has largely been a screensaver. They never mean it. I don't know if General Asim Munir means it, but for the Pakistani army to say that we are neutral and we have nothing to do with politics, I mean, the Pakistani army has nothing to do with the profession of arms also. It has nothing to do with fighting wars also. Pakistani army has If it has anything to do with anything at all, it is politics, it is real estate, it is business. That is what the Pakistani army does. So if the Pakistani army says that we are pulling back from politics and they mean it and they actually do it, this is an army that's going to be jobless because they have no other work. They aren't doing a fine job against the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan who are attacking them from the Afghanistan side. There is a ceasefire for 2.5 years on the line of control. So what is the Pakistani army going to do? Peace on the eastern borders, absolute unprofessionalism displayed on the western borders. Because the Pakistani army was never trained to fight. They only fought against people whom they had raised, whom they had bred, the terrorists. Now suddenly, if they pull back from politics, where does Pakistani army get its power from? Why is it the most powerful institution in Pakistan? Because they control the politics of that country. And if the army chief tomorrow were to say and mean it, above all mean it, that we have nothing to do with politics, I'm not meeting Imran Khan because I have no business meeting, politicians. I have no business meeting anybody. And yes, the Prime Minister of Pakistan is my boss. If he calls me, I'll go, I'll salute, I'll say hello, sir, and I'll give him a brief. But beyond that, I'm not helping any politicians. The Pakistani army is going to lose relevance inside Pakistan. Because this is the only thing that the Pakistani army does. There is nothing else for the Pakistani army to do. Another character in Pakistan who's part of this huge circus is Ishaq Dar. He is the finance minister of Pakistan, and every 2-3 days he makes a comment on the IMF. And he says that IMF is going to give us the loan, everything is done, everything is done. He's been saying that for several months now. The IMF was there in Pakistan for 8 to 10 days. They went back. They said that we'll catch up over video conferencing. I don't know whether that has happened or not. But every single time this man comes, and he does that at least thrice a week, he comes and he says, we are signing the deal with the IMF. Don't worry, the deal is very close by. The staff level agreement is close by. And this is only for $1.1 or $1.2 billion initially. It might end up at $6 billion, but that's a later game. Right now, it's out $1.1, $1.2 billion. That's all that Pakistan needs from the IMF. And then the other people will start giving them money. But the fact of the matter is that, Ishaq Dar says that to manage the stock markets in Pakistan, manage the currency in Pakistan. There is nothing else to manage the stock markets with. There is hardly any business, hardly any manufacturing, hardly any agriculture in that country. So they play with sentiments. They say that the market runs on sentiments. And this is exactly what Ishaq Dar is doing. The IMF deal is around the corner. Everybody feels happy. The Pakistani rupee goes up by 2 or 3. Ishaq Dar's day is made. A good hard day at work, he goes back home satisfied. And that's all he's been doing for the past 1 or 2 months. The deal is around the corner, the deal is around the corner, the deal is not happening. And I'll tell you why. We have discussed it in the past in Checkmate also. I think there is an absolute lack of trust. All multilateral organizations distrust Pakistan very deeply. And the reason for that distrust is that Pakistan has always shortchanged everybody. Pakistan has duped the IMF so many times. What Pakistan has done is take money from the IMF and not comply with its programs. And they've done it not once or twice or 10 times. They've done it 22 times. They just steal money from the IMF. Buy these luxury villas in Dubai and in London. And they don't reform their economy at all. This time the IMF says, you're not getting a penny from us unless you reform your economy. And now Pakistan has done everything that they were asked to do. Almost everything. Because, you can't say for sure when Pakistan is concerned. They're always hiding something or the other. I'll give you another example. When Pakistan was in the FATF grey list, they were in a great deal of pain. And Pakistanis actually put Hafiz Saeed, the Lashkar-e-Taiba? Yeah, that Hafiz Saeed. They put him behind bars and he said, he's going to be in prison for 31 years. They also put Sayyid Salahuddin of the United Jihad Council, Sayyid Salahuddin of the Hizbul Mujahideen in prison. And suddenly, when they were out of the FATF grey list, we find both these people, both these terrorists, openly roaming around. One goes to a funeral, other goes to a town called Gotki. They're giving speeches there, they're seen publicly, taking photographs, making videos. And these are terrorists who have been proscribed by the United Nations. This is what Pakistan does. And it does so blatantly. It does so blatantly. But they, I think, don't realize that now it's a different world. The world is watching. Indian diplomacy is very strong. And all of these videos would have gone to all the embassies around the world. They would have gone to FATF. And India would have, taken the file everywhere and told the world that this is Pakistan. Let's expose Pakistan for what it does. IMF will give Pakistan money. I'm saying this on record. IMF will give Pakistan money. But it will make the Pakistani government bleed through its nose before it gives them the money. Because this is the only language that the Pakistanis understand. They don't understand any other language. And this is exactly what the IMF is doing. Inflation is at an all-time high in Pakistan. Onions are 200 or 300 rupees a kg. It's unbelievable. People don't have food to eat. And yet IMF says, hold on for another week. We're discussing amongst ourselves. This time the IMF is wanting to pass a message to Pakistan that is absolutely tattooed here. Absolutely tattooed here. Whenever Pakistan looks in the mirror, they will read the IMF message. Don't take us for granted. Don't try to fool us. You fooled us before. No longer. Thus far and no further. The last news that I have for you is the airport which is coming up at Gwadar. Now, news reports from Pakistan say that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will inaugurate the Gwadar International Airport later this month. And, according to CPEC website, the airport's construction created 3,000 jobs. The groundbreaking ceremony of the airport was held on March 29, 2019 by Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairman Imran Khan, who was the Prime Minister at that time. Now, this whole thing about CPEC and Gwadar is an absolute scam. So what the Chinese would do is give a few $100 million for the airport, an airport which nobody needs. Because where is the catchment population in Gwadar? Where is that catchment population in Gwadar? So that, you can have an international airport there. The Chinese did the same stunt in Sri Lanka. They created an airport in Sri Lanka. And after creating this airport in Sri Lanka, only one flight landed on the day of the inauguration. And it's been over, I think, 4 to 5 years. No flight has landed at the Sri Lankan airport. The same with Hanmantota port. You create a very fine port, but there aren't enough ships. I mean, ships do come at Hanmantota port, but they're very, very infrequent. They created Gwadar port. Gwadar port is hardly utilized, except for the odd Chinese submarine or some fishing boats which are there. So what China will do is keep on giving money, creating world-class infrastructure inside Pakistan. The contracts are given to Chinese companies. So let's say this airport costs, for example, $250 million US. The $250 million US project will be given to a Chinese company, which means that the money comes from China and goes back to China to a Chinese company. But that $250 million loan stands and Pakistanis have to pay back that loan. Now, what are the interest rates? What are the terms and conditions of this airport? Nobody in Pakistani media will discuss this. Nobody wants to discuss it. That they have an airport in Gwadar is enough. That planes don't fly in and out of that airport is one thing, right? But you have to pay back the money. And Chinese loans are Chinese loans at the end of the day. And Chinese are very, very unforgiving when it comes to taking money back from the people they have lent the money to. So this is where Pakistan stands today. They have to pay back money for the China-Pakistan economic corridor and now also for this airport, which nobody needs because it's a underpopulated area. It's largely a fishing community. There is negligible shipping. And the only people who need the airport in Gwadar, Balochistan, Pakistan are the Chinese. They're certainly not the Pakistanis. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Checkmate. I'll be back with you next week. Till then, have a great weekend.